In this video tutorial, you'll be shown how to update the assessment results sheet with all the assessment results from your unit across the semester. And you'll also be shown how to produce and document the final numerical mark and the final letter grade for each individual student. So you'll remember from the first video tutorial that a lot of the information has already been pre-populated on your spreadsheet, and that includes the student number, the student last name, and the student first name. So there is no reason why any of that information needs to be edited. So all we're concerned about at the moment is inputting the individual assessment results for each individual student over the course of the semester. And we are particularly concerned with these sections here. So assignment 2, assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment number 3, and then these two final green columns. So what we're going to do first of all is actually set the parameters for the spreadsheet so that the calculations behind it work perfectly. So the first thing we want to do is edit the percentage of the weighting for each particular assignment task. So you should have between 2 and 3 assessment tasks. You shouldn't have any less than 2 and you shouldn't have any more than 3. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that this particular spreadsheet is being prepared for a unit that had 3 assessment tasks in it. So my first assignment, assignment number 1, I'm going to say is worth 25% of the unit. I'm going to say that assignment number 2 was worth 30% of the unit. And then that brings me a total of 55% so far, and I'm going to say that my final assessment task was worth 45% of the unit. And that gives me a overall score of 100%. So if your scores don't match up to 100%, you need to make sure that they do, because without those 2 or those 3 assignment tasks adding up to 100%, the calculations won't work on the spreadsheet. Then you need to populate the remaining 3 boxes with the actual score that you scored the assessment task out of. So I'm going to say that this first one, assignment number 2, was scored out of 20. I'm going to say that the second one was scored out of 50, and I'm going to say that the third one was also scored out of 50. So that now sets in motion the calculations that sit behind the spreadsheet that allow us to complete the rest of it correctly and with confidence. So I'm now going to fill in the scores for the first student. So this is student number 1. And I'm going to say that out of 20, this student got 18 for the first one. For the second one, got 21. And for the third one, got 32. You'll notice that the percentage in each assignment task, so this column here, and this column here, they update with a percentage score. The total academic score for the unit also updates, so that's the total numerical score. What it doesn't update is the letter grade, so you need to put that in manually. And if you don't know what the letter grades are, on Leo there is there's information in the sessional LIC support unit that gives you a description of each unit descriptor. But 18 out of 20 is coming in at 90%, so that's going to be an HD. 21 out of 50 is coming in at 42%, so that's going to be an NN. And 32 out of 50 is coming in at 64%, which is a pass. And then when you look at the total academic mark for that, it's 63.9, which is a pass. And when you consider the weightings of these particular assignment tasks, that is obviously a very reasonable score. What you then need to do is complete these final 2 columns here, these green ones. And these are, along with the student number and the CRN details, these 2 columns are really what tell the system to update the student account with. So this is where, in the case of this student, you're telling the system to update the student with a pass, so with a numerical score of 63.9, but I'll come to that in a moment, and a letter grade of a pass. But these columns can have no calculations behind them, so it just needs to be text input. So in the final mark, where this student got 63.9, we need to change that, because this column will only take whole numbers. So 63.9 needs to be either rounded up or rounded down. Now, in the School of Education, this one we would round up to 64. So this is going to be 64, which means that the final letter grade is going to be a pass. And you'll notice that none of those two columns have got the calculations behind them. So you just have to put it in by text. Now, if this student had got 64.4, that rounds down to a 64 rather than rounds up to a 65. So 64.5 would give that student a credit rather than a pass, but 64.4 gives that student the pass. So if you've got any queries about that, or if you'd like further information about that, please email us on sessionals.arc@acu.edu.au, and we'll be able to help you further if you've got any queries. But what you then do is you go through the whole process and you complete the details for all of the students, and then you save that document, and you are then required to save it in grade order, and that will be the focus of the next video tutorial.